Peace and harmony here. What are some of the toxicities that you experience from the narcissist? What is toxicity? What exactly is it? How does the narcissist inflict such toxic negativity, gunk, scum, horrible feelings that end up corroding your perspective on life? It's a very serious topic, and I just want to take a look at some of the origins of toxicity and how they occur, especially in the narcissist and the psychopath. Now, the narcissist, as we know, they lack very little empathy. They do not have a humanity about them, and they really do lack quite a bit of values in terms of family values, relationship values. They might express or they might display commitments and things of that nature. They might have relationships, but really the fundamental reason, the agenda, is for them to have a sense of supply. And it might go through phases where it looks like the narcissist is loving, kind, generous, there for their partner. Yet as you stay with it and begin to see the plot unfold, you'll realize that they have really a dangerous trap set up for their victim. And this can go on for years. It can be torture and torment for their partner for years. And the loving partner, maybe who is married to them, will stick around. They are coming from a good place. They are extremely committed to this person, the narcissist, and they've just accepted that this is how this personality is. And for the everyday bystander, when you see how this narcissist is treating this other person, absolutely shocking. Some people go in for help. They talk to their friends or their coworkers, or they get professional help. Some people just literally suffer through it, or they just say that's how they are. That's how that's their personality. And yet most people could not accept that sort of treatment. They don't want to be whipped, as I've heard many people say. They don't want to be someone else's whipping post. And that it's not a very healthy state to endure, and oftentimes people can endure it for very long. I mean, they eventually get fed up, and what's very common in narcissist victims is that they get burned out. I mean, they literally get burned out from the relationship, and what ends up happening is that they get burned out in life in general, to the point where they have PTSD, complex PTSD. They're so dependent on satisfying the narcissist's needs that they completely are drained. Their bodies, have fibromyalgia and other diseases that are stress-related from these types of situations and environments. They have fibromyalgia. They have immune system disorders. They end up having, drug abuse problems, depression problems. They literally get into a state, from a biological foundation where they're so disconnected from their own desires and their own free will and their own talents and their own really driving force, that they end up really getting very burned out. And, this is a very toxic person for them. A very toxic person who has really broken them down. And oftentimes when we look at, what is the toxicity caused from, the narcissist really has quite a bit of hostility. The hostility can take very many forms. It can take the form of excessive spending, toxic spending, buying all sorts of stuff all the time. They're hoarders. They can be wanting to spend a lot of money on vacations. I mean, they have, just because they're a narcissist doesn't mean that they're poor or even middle class. There's quite a degree of upper class and very affluent narcissists as well, and psychopaths. We see a lot of them in the upper 1% of the earning stratosphere. Here in the U.S. is a lot of the wealthier, affluent people are in fact narcissists and even psychopaths. That's what's gotten them to their position where they are today. So the toxicity really seeps in unbeknownst ways to you. Really, unbeknownst meaning beyond your perception. Oftentimes it's just really in their energy. Oftentimes what's fueling the narcissist is quite a degree of insecurity and hostility, which the narcissist has repressed from their own childhood. So the whole emotion that's propelling their life, no matter what career they have, I mean, if they were a nurse, if they're a doctor, the narcissist is a social worker. A narcissist has quite a degree of insecurity in their life, which they have repressed. I mean, they oftentimes don't remember even quite a degree of their childhood. Chances are they suffered some sort of trauma in their childhood that is so painful that they have repressed it to such a degree that they don't even remember it. And their life is almost like in a response to the injuries that they have. But it's almost like they flip a switch, and it's no matter who they hurt, no matter who they destroy, they're just going to get what they want. And it's a very lonely existence, even if they're married, even if they have a lot of friends. The narcissist inside is very empty and very hollow, and actually very lonely and very insecure, and really has no self-esteem, which is very sad, which is sometimes really why, people end up staying with them. I mean, I think the people with a big heart and a great degree of empathy end up staying with them and absorbing a lot of this toxicity, which is their insecurity, which is hostility. And the hostility can it's in the form of quite a degree of energy. So, they can be very high achievers. They're perfectionists. A lot of narcissists are extremely perfectionistic, which means, nothing can be out of place. Nothing can be unclean. They're OCD oftentimes, where they have such a high degree of energy and hostility to them that they're able to accomplish physically and do quite a, even on a sexual basis, they have a high degree of sexual energy. But a lot of this originates from a very aggressive and hostile nature. As you can imagine, people aren't putting a lot of good energy out in a hostility situation. They're putting out a lot of fumes. It's a lot of toxicity. It's a lot of negative ion. You can almost even feel it when you've heard. You can feel the tension in the room. In the case of the narcissist, it's very much you can feel the tension in the room. You can feel their hostility. Even if they're doing something positive, even if they're negative, even if they're, a narcissist is like giving a speech or something, oftentimes you can really sense a sort of hostility and an untouchable or unapproachableness to them. And they're just, it's because they're coming from an inner source of hostility and insecurity. So that tends to breed a lot of toxicity into the environment, and you get very stressed, you can't breathe, you can't relax around them. It creates a sense of paranoia, trying to live up to their standards, live up to their increasing needs and their demands, their sexual demands, their needs for attention. So it becomes a very unstable situation and very chaotic. So those are some of the core, I would say the source of a lot of the toxicity that you see. And so you just have to realize that you need to go no contact and get them out of your environment and start surrounding yourself with more positive and humane-based activities and organizations. So oftentimes, people will, sometimes go to church or, really start, volunteering or being around people who deserve love, even animal therapy. If you're around, a lot of people who have suffered child abuse or narcissistic abuse, they benefit very well from art therapy and, pet therapy. So actually a lot of survivors have gone on to take service animals because they really need the unconditional love that this animal has to give them. Unconditional love meaning no matter what you do or say, I love you. Like, it's there. So, those are some good ways to remove the toxicity. Get yourself involved. Really, if you're just coming out of the exposure and just coming out of the relationship, I know it can be very hard to do these things. It can be very hard to show your face because you're suffering so much. I can remember, years for me when it was, I couldn't go to church without out crying. I mean, hysterically sobbing and crying because of all the pain that I'd been through. And you're carrying their pain. There's enough difficulty in the world, you know, you don't need to carry two people's pain. You know, life is tough enough just to manage, you know, every day with handling the responsibilities of a job and keeping up for yourself and taking care of yourself. You know, we all are going to end up having our own health issues. And sometimes that can be the first eye-opener when you realize, you know what, I don't have time to waste. I'm starting to develop health issues. And you know what, this is going to really, literally kill me. It's a very serious realization. So, you know, when those tears come, it is going to cleanse you. And, you know, surrounding yourself with things like nature, going out into nature, going out into the peace and quiet, listening to 432 hertz music, which is very calming. I'm here and there's someone who's playing a flute. You know, it's very soothing music to hear a flute. Go and hear a symphony. Go and hear, you know, a great country band and, you know, and dance and laugh. Or just sit and take it in. You know, you're going to have to go baby steps to remove the toxicity. But it is going to come. You'll eventually be totally clear of it. It's hard to imagine, but it can occur. It's going to take a conscious choice, a conscious decision to want to be clear of them, which means you have to continually work at it and reaffirm to yourself, you know, I am me, I am free. I am clear, I'm rid of this. It's okay for me to live my life. It's okay for me to be happy. It's okay for me to thrive. It's okay for me to express my talents. It's okay for me to move if I want to. It's okay for me to get a job. You know, it's okay. It's okay. So getting to that point is where you need to be really actively working on it. And as you know, dealing with the intrusive thoughts and, you know, the nightmares and dreams will subside. You just, again, realize you're on the path to healing. You're on the journey to healing. And you will be restored to peace and harmony. Be strong, peace and harmony here with you. Please subscribe for more great videos, tools, discussions, and support. Make it a beautiful day.